And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time again, catching the curb once again with our friends from Curbstone Coaches. Chuck going to lead us off today. Chuck, some great speakers all year, and we're here to talk about the kind of ones that are leading us towards the banquet and to finish out the year. We'll talk about that next time. But who do we have coming up that you're really looking forward to?
Well, again, DJ, speakers upcoming. I'll give you the list in a second, but just remind everybody that we meet at Evian on the Water every Monday at the food. Actually, the line opens at 11:45. You can get there whenever you want. Usually, I'm there about 11, and they do a great job there. And we've had some great speakers recently, but I just want to focus on who's coming up next. And on April 11th, which is next Monday, we have Champ Summers. He's a local radio and sports personality. He's been in the Valley, for a long time, talking sports. On March 18th, we have Stan Boney.
Okay.
I don't think there's anybody in the Valley that doesn't know Stan Boney from WKBN. On the 25th, we're going to honor the high school champs. And as far as we know right now, I think the only champ we have so far in the Valley is a bowler.
Okay.
I don't know whether maybe you even know more than I do about who's won, but we were hoping we'd get some swimmers or divers, but that didn't happen.
Tough year.
We're still waiting for basketball, obviously, to happen. But right now, I think we have one bowler that's won a state championship. And on April 1st, we have Nate Mikolos, the YSU ladies golf coach, who last time I was on, I apologize, I transposed him with the new lacrosse coach. On April 8th, which is NCAA championship night.
Oh, it's the big one.
It's the big one, and what we've done, Bob has come up with this ingenious idea. He used to have President Tressel on President's Day. Well, now we always have Joe DeRosa, if he's willing to come back, which he always has been, on the finals night. And Joe is outstanding.
Love it.
Talks basketball, talk NBA. He'll answer any question you want answered. And then on the 15th, we originally listed it as a football recap of the spring practice, but we're going to go even more bigger than that. We're going to have Coach Phillips himself.
Oh, Dougie.
On the 15th to recap, what had happened at the spring practice and what's gone on so far in the football program. And then on April 22nd, we have Rob Harris, who is the YSU lacrosse coach now. Mm-hmm. And lastly, on the 29th of April, this is the last one before our banquet, we have Matt Thompson from the Mahoney Valley Scrappers coming. And then our banquet is May 5th, which Bob's going to talk about that. And then after that, we haven't scheduled speakers yet. We're not quite to that point to do that yet. We want to get past the banquet, and then we'll worry about who those speakers are going to be here directly.
So one of the questions I got from what we do here once a month is if someone maybe wants to speak. I know that you're always accepted. Like if you've got new ideas and new people that in the world of sports or maybe outside the world of sports that tickle the sports a little bit, how does someone kind of get on the docket to speak or to be a speaker potentially someday?
That's a great point. I mean, I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Where we actually somebody's reaching out to us without us reaching out to them.
Sure.
Most of it's usually done by word of mouth from the rest of our members or someone like you. But if someone actually wants to speak, they can give me a call.
Okay.
I can give you my phone
Sure,
number.
go ahead.
It's 330-506-9947. And I'm the one that keeps a list of our potential speakers. I take the list to our speakers meeting. We usually have a little speakers meeting sometimes maybe once a month after our regular Monday meeting. We have a group of like 5 or 6 of us that goes over that with Bob, and we kind of come up with, I have about 50 people on the list, but we kind of go over like, what's our priority, what'll fit at the right time, like trying to put a baseball person during baseball season or a softball person during, etc.
What are some of the prerequisites that you try to have when you're thinking about speakers?
Well, we try to have someone that's at least sports related.
Yeah.
I know Stan doesn't always do sports.
Sure.
But he'll talk a little bit.
He knows them.
He knows them. He'll talk his career. We had Sheriff Paul Monroe from Trumbull County yesterday. He kind of related his job to sports.
Yeah.
And talked about his sports career. He was very interesting. He listed a lot of questions. So as for actual qualifications, we really don't have a list. I just think whoever will work That's who we say, hey,
You
come
let
on.
me in, so it's a low bar, is what you're saying.
You said that, not me. But maybe you raised the bar after you
I don't know
spoke.
about all that.
Yeah, you know. So.
You've had some great speakers, obviously, guys and gals that come back year after year because they appreciate the audience and the questions. I think that's my favorite part is the questions that are asked. There's always questions that people are really curious about. And for some speakers, it takes up 90% of their thing, and for some, it's 10%.
I was just going to say the same thing. It's gotten to be pretty much it's at least 50-50.
Yeah.
Where their speaking time is surpassed by the question time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. If somebody wants to speak for a half hour, well, maybe Bob won't like that. But if they want to, 15, 20 minutes and only end up taking a couple questions, that's fine. But if they want to speak for 5 minutes and take 20 minutes worth of questions, we've never had anyone turn down questions. They're always willing to ask questions because even if you know, like Stan, most people know a lot about Stan. There's always somebody that asked a question that Stan doesn't talk about, or maybe we've never thought about.
Sure.
Those issues with Stan.
All right, I got to ask you a question. So, what are some of the things that are in the back of your mind for some of the upcoming speakers? Do you have a question that you're kind of loaded up with that you're going into?
Well, I usually do, and I think about the speaker. I'll give you an example of yesterday. Sheriff Monroe talked about how sometimes when you go to hire a person, you can tell they're going to be a superstar, but you're not always sure they're going to be a team player.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, you might. He's thinking you don't always know whether someone's going to be a team player when you hire that person. I usually think if I'm interviewing somebody, and I did that for my career for a little bit, you have a pulse. So I said to him, who do you hire if you have a team player that you know might not be a superstar, but you have a superstar that you might not be a team player? He said part of his job is to make that person a team player. So I usually have something in mind to ask just about everyone, and I usually formulate that morning. I'll say, hey, here's what I'm going to ask them. And let's see, next week is Champ Summers. Oh,
historian.
I'm going to ask Champ Summers.
Okay.
I'll give you a preview.
Okay.
Whether anybody wants it or not. Champ Summers was a regular caller to the Bruce Rennan show.
Okay.
And I don't know whether you were a Bruce Rennan watcher or listener. And you know who Bruce Rennan
I do,
is,
very much, yeah.
But he had a television show for a few years.
Yep.
And Champ called them, I wouldn't say every day, but pretty close to it.
Yeah.
This was always the rumor that people like Champ that called all the time. I want to know whether he had a private line that he reached Bruce on, or whether he had to go through the regular number like anybody else.
I love it.
So
I love it.
That's going to be my question for Champ.
Phenomenal. And for anybody that wants to come out and see these speakers, Chuck, one more time, where do we go? How do we get there?
Avion on the Water on Western Reserve Road in Canfield. It's right next to Drake's Landing. They own both facilities. So if you go to Drake's by mistake, it's right next door is Avion. The buffet starts at 11:45. You don't have to be a member to show up to view a meeting and listen to the speaker, and you don't have to be a coach. We try to always influence that. So, and again, if you have someone that wants to speak or know someone that you think would be a good speaker, just give me a call and I'll get them on the list.
Chuck, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. We'll get to Bob here.
Much.